Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose. It proved to be a tactical disadvantage because it enabled me to punch him in the dark.
Traveling the Vortex.
We've joined the Doctor as he travels the Vortex, and then episode number 156. Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm Keith.
And God bless us. I'm Sean.
Everyone. I'm Glenn.
How are you guys?
Good. Really good.
I am filled with the everlasting joy that is Christmas. I'm lying. I
Did you
can't
not work
back
today?
that up at all.
What have you guys been up to?
Christmas.
Christmas.
For me, since I work on Wednesdays, Christmas. Yeah.
Wednesday is Christmas.
Since I work on Wednesday, we're staying home, so we decided to do our Christmases early, and so we did them this weekend. So yesterday, went to my parents, and we celebrated with my parents and my sister and her 2 kids. And I got some really good Doctor Who goodness. I got the Character Builders TARDIS box with the variant sets of all of the Doctors. Well, 11 of them. And I got a really cool alarm clock that lights up, and when you push the button, it displays the time on the ceiling, which I brought with me. And
Do you have a cottage cheese ceiling?
I think I did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Cottage cheese. We call it popcorn ceiling.
Oh, popcorn works too.
It works
how well
fine.
the display
Oh
will
no,
work.
we don't have popcorn ceilings at my house. Now that I think about it.
Oh, it shows up fine.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Not bad.
But we
It's
don't.
hard to
we,
tell since the
we
light's
do
on.
not have popcorn ceiling. We do downstairs, but we don't up in the upstairs. So. And then I also got season 7 on DVD. And then today we went over to Kansas City and spent Christmas with Holly's family. And so her dad and stepmom and her sister and brother-in-law and their 3 kids all got together, and we had dinner tonight and opened gifts after that. No Doctor Who goodness there. We got a gift card, so I'll use that for Doctor Who.
There you go.
And then tonight we obviously celebrated our Traveling the Vortex Christmas tonight. Opened gifts from each other. We didn't do crackers. Were we supposed to do crackers?
No, we were going to do it on the podcast.
Oh, that's
Hold
right.
on.
We're doing it on the show. So, and tonight, should I wait until you guys talk about your gifts, or should I just say
No,
all
go
that?
for it. I'll move all my stuff.
Sean's
Sorry.
got all this stuff piled on my gifts. And then from Keith and Sarah, I got the Doctor Who
Rattle,
the
rattle,
TARDIS
thunderclap,
Handbook,
boom, boom,
a official
boom.
guide to the best ship in the universe. And actually, Keith informed me that he was actually going to get that for me for my birthday, but they didn't have it. We were out. And I have the Dalek Handbook, the companion book to that. And then Sean and Mel, couldn't put my hand, got me the book Behind the Sofa. It's Celebrity Memories of Doctor Who. And if I remember right, this was a charity book, right? It's going to Alzheimer's research, I think. The proceeds to these go to Alzheimer's
I don't remember.
research. Yeah, I think that's
I
right.
think you might be right.
So,
Sounds
and what
good.
they did is...
Oh, yeah, there's an Alzheimer's on the back.
Is there? Oh, yeah, Alzheimer's Research UK. There you go. Defeating Dementia. And what was the author's name? I can't remember. The guy that compiled this. But basically what he did is he
That's
got
probably on the cover.
several. Like Julian Glover was one of them he talked to. Stephen Merchant, Ian McMillan, Neil Gaiman. Just a ton of people sent in their recounting their memories of Doctor Who, and it's set out. And yeah, I'm looking real quick. There's a...
Oh, hey, that's where those went. I did flip through the book while I was at work on many a lunch break, and there are some wonderful little anecdotal stories. And
Oh, Steve Berry was the editor. That's right.
you know who
He's
else
the
is
one
in
who
there?
put it together.
The guy who axed the show.
Oh, is that right?
Grade, guard, whatever his name is.
Phil Grade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in there. So, that one was
Well, I've been
particularly
reading some interesting stuff lately that really he wasn't the villain that we've all made him out to
Oh,
be.
he fully claims the villain status.
and that there were a lot more factors due to him, but everybody's able to kind of direct them to him as the ultimate. Anyway, Sean Mel also got me a.
He is as much to blame for that as Bruce Ismay is for the sinking of the Titanic.
It still hasn't gone back to. I guess because it needs to be cold.
Maybe
Drink
put cold in it. It turns. Yeah, there you go.
But a really cool Doctor Who and then TARDIS shot glass, and it color changes.
Yeah, we could break out the scotch and you could try it.
Yeah. And then a really cool retro poster that's actually from the 1970s of Tom Baker. I need somebody to take a picture of me with that.
Want me to hold it?
Yeah.
Or you want to take a picture with it?
I don't want to be holding it. I'll take the picture.
Okay, then give me your phone.
You know how to work it?
Pull up the camera.
I like how we do these things right in the middle of the
Yeah, that's
We didn't think of it ahead.
No, we didn't. I actually did think of it, but I got distracted. So.
Well, Glenn gave Mel and myself some wonderful gift card for our Regal Cinema, so we will be enjoying a movie on his dime at some point in time down the road. And Keith and Sarah gave me a lovely, I cannot wait to open it and play with it, puzzle of it's that one image of the 50th anniversary image, but it's all of the doctors and the kind of gray Vortex background, which I think is very cool, and I love it. And I can't wait to do that puzzle. So I'm excited.
Glenn also got me a gift card to our local theater. And Sean and Mel got me the Cyberman Bust, an illustrated book.
He did that. I knew what it was, but it sounded like the Cyberman
Bust. I was thinking of the word for it.
Bob. I thought he was going to talk about
Cyberman
It's
Bob.
the Cyberman Bob Bust.
That's his name now.
He's
Bob.
missing his arms now.
One of the shot glasses and a gift card to a local coffee shop. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you guys.
And Sean got the coffee shop right.
Yes, he did.
There was much trepidation.
I think you
Much
had to.
confusion.
Did you have to get some help though?
You reached out.
I had to
reached
reach
out for help.
I had to reach out to Top City Batman and say, "Where do you work again?"
Did you do anything else fun this week, Lynn?
That's pretty much it. It's enough fun for another year.
Or should we do crackers since we're discussing Christmas?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yay! This way.
This way.
All right. Am I wrong?
No, you're
You're
right.
good.
Okay. 1,
2, 3. Oh, see, and I end up with yours. No, I ended up with yours. And you ended up with mine. Why does that work that way?
I don't know.
That's the way they do it. Oh, this is mine.
I guess we should have just kept the ones we ended up with, and then that would have been even
That might be how
more
they do
random.
it.
Maybe, I don't know.
I think yours flew
We
over
don't
there,
know
Glenn.
what we did. What?
Somebody's flew over
Some
there.
of it did, not all of it. But yes,
Oh,
my prize went over there.
Russian over there.
I got a lousy paperclip
Again?
again.
Didn't you get that last time?
I'm gonna hook it on the end of my computer so I can say, "Do you need help with something?"
Replace the Santa hat with the paper crown.
Where's my crown?
Can't hold on to it.
Oh, I got
These are actually leftover crackers from last year.
You're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to say, I went out and got these 3 specially for you guys. Hey, look, my crown's the same color.
Hey!
I have 2 TARDIS blue crowns and
TARDIS blue.
Yellow.
no gold because I am the king.
Blue.
Where do
royal
ghosts
blue.
go swimming?
I don't know, where do ghosts go swimming?
The Dead Sea! And look, there's a charade suggestion. Guess what's on it?
Doctor Who TV.
Really?
Fittingly.
What did I get? I got.
Oh, that is too awesome.
What do you get from a pampered cow?
I give up, Mr. Fudd. What do you get from a pampered cow?
Spoiled milk. And my charade was a movie, The Iron Lady.
Ah.
So, was that a
I guess this is a cell phone pendant thing.
You got the same thing.
Yeah.
Cell
Apparently
phone
they're
pendant?
matching except for... Yeah, you know, they used to have these that you would put on your antenna.
No. I have no idea what you're talking
They
about.
made some Doctor Who ones.
Did they really?
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's for old school Nokias.
Well, this does us no good because we
Nope.
don't have antennas on our
They
phones.
still sell them too. I don't know why.
Who invented fireworks?
The Chinese.
No. Some bright spark. And my charade movie is The Blind Side.
That's actually kind of cool. I mean, I don't know what you'd put it on.
Well, you could team those up and give them to the girls as earrings.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
Or I could just put it on my...
Or you could use it as a bauble. And as promised last week on the show, since we made such a to-do about the digestives,
Christmas goodies!
Christmas cookies. Did you make tea?
I did not.
You didn't make tea.
I can make coffee.
We're supposed to have tea with our biscuits.
It's way past tea time anyway.
I went and picked up some digestives. Now with more chocolate.
Now with more chocolate.
And it's dark chocolate, so. And it's actually McVitie's digestives. So here's another food sampling challenge here on Traveling the Vortex.
Those are pretty good. Crumbly, but good.
I'll hold it up. Bit inside. There you go. So we can see that there's a bite on it.
And it's a biscuit. I think those would even be pretty tasty without chocolate.
It's not a graham cracker crush, but it's
Almost.
it's that consistency.
It also tastes like,
What does it taste like?
it's Keebler cookies. The fudge stripes.
Yeah, kind of like a fudge stripe.
Riveting audio right
I don't
here.
mind them. They're good.
Yeah. These are not going to help me digest anything.
Well, let's talk about how British foods are not quite as sweet as American foods. And one of the things I don't like about American cookies is they're often too sweet. So I actually like these because they're kind of more subdued. I can see what these would be good with tea.
They would go well with coffee, too.
They would go well with coffee. Yeah. Wait. I'm digesting much better. I dig them. That's good.
Oh, it fell over. Sean, what did you do? Aside from tonight's festivities.
Well, we took care of Mel, who got sick with the flu. So I've been babysitting her all week and trying like mad not to get it myself. I'm not sure exactly how successful I've been. So all of you listening tonight, or this afternoon, or this morning, whenever you're tuning into us, you're now infected. Enjoy that. That comes from Kansas. I worked a lot, both at the store, because, it's the week before Christmas, and it's retail. And
That's right.
can't handle it anymore. And
Sean's ready for Christmas to come and go.
people keep asking me, are you ready for Christmas? I'm ready for Christmas to be over. 2 more days, 2 more days, 2 more days. Keep telling myself that. And then, excuse me, I have a digestive stuck in my throat, I think. And then I worked a lot on my internship. I have 4 of the 7 videos completely finished, uploaded, and off to the races.
Oh,
and
good.
So
Nice.
I'm zeroing in on getting
that's coming
this
around
project
well, then.
done. Yeah.
Good.
And then I did manage to sneak in a couple of movies, mainly while I was waiting for things to render and upload. I watched The Wolverine.
Oh, what do you think?
I saw that too.
It was pretty good.
Yeah,
I need to see that still.
until the end. It kind of suffers from we've got to go a little over the top syndrome,
Yeah.
but I still was okay with that. I
Yeah.
mean, it was good.
Well, it was borderline believable. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, because I'll be honest, when they get to that moment, my first reaction was, "Oh, holy crap!" Because that's a really cool, dun 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 there. But then seeing the dun 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 in action, actually doing some stuff was kind of. Then it began to raise all those science fiction questions that part of my brain I can't quite shut off is going. How does that work? And I'm curious to know where they're going to go from there with the way that ended. But
I kind of wonder the same thing.
so.
I need to see it.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. And I wonder if Hugh Jackman, when he signed up to be Wolverine, when they offered him the deal in the year 2000, could he possibly have imagined he'd still be doing it all these years later?
I don't know. Probably not.
I wouldn't think
Now,
so.
you heard his last interview. He said that beyond Days of Future Past, he may not do any more Wolverine.
Oh, he'll come back.
So,
I'd be okay if they put them to rest for a while.
what's Mel's Twitter handle?
Ink for Unihu.
Unihu. That's what I could have
Yeah.
inked for.
Ink.
I know.
INK.
Ink.
4.
Well, that's why it's not coming up. Okay.
Uni. Who? And then, what was the other one I watched? I watched it, complete side note, I watched a really cool documentary called It's All True, which is based on an unfinished film of Orson Welles. That was really fascinating.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you more about that off mic. What was the other one that I watched?
I don't know. You haven't told me. I'm pulling up your Facebook to see if you posted about it.
I may have done the
But
Get Glue boycott.
With
Because they didn't post
that going
Wolverine.
on.
Well, you let me know what I watched. And what did you do this week, Keith?
Hold on. I'm scrolling through.
I don't think it was an Oscar winner.
From last year.
Hey, I actually watched movies from 2013. Maybe. No, wait. I think I'm wrong.
He's second guessing himself now.
No, one of them isn't. Earlier this week, I watched Seven Psychopaths.
Oh, I was in.
Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it.
Glenna, you haven't? It's really enjoyable.
I wanted to see
It's
it.
a lot of fun. The closest thing I can compare it to is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
That's what it was.
Oh, did you watch
watched
that too?
I didn't watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. No, but you just reminded me what I did.
And you
watch.
watched that
Oh.
this week too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You watched Kiss Kiss Bang
Afterwards.
Bang.
Yeah, because I introduced Sarah to it on Saturday night.
See, that's an appropriate Christmas movie.
She wasn't as fond of it as I am, but
It's got RDJ.
she liked RDJ in it, and she liked Val Kilmer in it. I think it was just a little dark for her Christmas
I
time
suppose that's
tastes.
true. She's got the kind of sensitive.
But I thoroughly enjoyed watching it again and laughed a lot. And there were a lot of moments in Seven Psychopaths that made me laugh a lot. Colin Farrell, right?
Somebody's dragging a dead body down the stairs outside.
Colin Farrell's the Irishman, right?
Yes.
Okay. He and Christopher Walken, fantastic chemistry together. And Sam
I think they're
Rockwell
throwing somebody down the stairs. Sean. I think you had that wrong.
is hilarious in it.
Did you just drop a
You
digestive?
just dropped the digestive cookie.
Well, I guess you're going to have to eat it.
So I highly recommend that. It is rated R, so keep that in mind. It is about 7 psychopaths. And it's very well done. I did not expect what goes on in it. Like, it's set up where this guy's trying to write a story about 7 psychopaths. He's writing a screenplay about it, but he doesn't want them to really be psychopaths. He's tired of writing about violence. And so, like, he says, I don't want to do this anymore. And so the movie stops doing this and just goes off and does something else because it's really, really good. They end up in the desert at one point, and I really enjoyed it. And then we also watched The 5-Year Engagement, which
Oh, how was that
we've
one?
been getting around to.
I don't think I've heard of
It's
that
different.
one.
It's the Emily Blunt's Jason Segel. He helped write and produce it.
It's not ringing any bells with me.
It's essentially a couple and their attempts to get married and their delays, etc. It's much more of a drama than a comedy. And there are some funny moments. It's got Chris Pratt and Alison Brie in it also.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed it. It's very, very different. It's not your usual quote-unquote romantic comedy.
Okay.
That was about it. We did a bit more Christmas shopping and stayed home from the blizzard.
Snowmageddon.
All 3
It didn't
inches.
end up being that bad.
Yeah. It wasn't that bad.
What else did you?
Elysium.
Oh,
how's that?
The Matt Damon one. You know, I went into this and I was a little uncertain about it because throwing back to District 9, like the previews for District 9 really left me with zero desire to watch District 9. But everybody kept raving about how good District 9 is. So I sat down and watched it, and I really liked it. Well, the previews for Elysium kind of left me with that same, it's a Matt Damon sci-fi movie with an exosuit. I just don't care.
well, the selling point was the fact that, hey, it's the same guy from that did District 9.
That's exactly it. It's like,
Well, you could tell when they did the
That's
trailers.
what they
it
were
was,
hooking you
yeah.
with. Yeah.
Well, but see, I didn't think so. I didn't honestly know that it was Neil Blomkamp until much later. And so I was like, oh, well, I liked District 9, and I like what Neil Blomkamp did. So, okay, I'll rent it for that. and kind of the same reaction. The preview trailer, it's really not what this movie's about.
Yeah, that happens a lot. I haven't seen it, but that happens a lot.
And
I can see that possibility.
It feels a lot like District 9, but it's a very, very good movie. And there's a lot of there are moments that Sarah obviously will not. She won't like. There's some blood.
I don't know if she was even interested in that one. It's not so much blood bothers her.
Well,
depending on the reason.
Well, that's just it. There's some really cool fight sequences,
blood.
And there's some. Well, it's not even gratuitous. It's just you've really struck a chord when Mel and I both jump off the couch and go, "Oh!" And there were several of those moments in this movie.
It all depends on how the blood is used. Like tonight at shows, we watched Remedial Chaos Theories, the Community episode.
Okay.
And everyone, including Sarah, was cracking up when Pierce got shot in the leg.
Well, but that's because we all want to see Pierce get shot. I mean, come on.
So it's all in how it's used.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was a very good movie. I enjoyed it immensely, and I was really surprised. And I wound up owning it now. So if you want to borrow,
I'd like to borrow that.
Yeah. I will loan it to you.
But I still need to borrow Hitchcock.
Oh yeah, I need to bring that for you, don't I?
I need to get in line for that too.
I loved Hitchcock. It was so good. Okay, enough about that.
Yeah, but no more talking about Oscar movies.
Well, that wasn't nominated.
Yeah, Hitchcock was though.
Oh, was it?
Not for Best Picture, but here I go. I'm just gonna go down that aisle there. But it picked up some nods.
You know what we should do a whole show on?
I didn't realize Jim Rash had been nominated or won an Oscar.
Who's Jim Rash?
The Dean.
He's writing. He's got a writing Oscar.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I must have missed that part of the conversation.
I think you're listening to your homework. Well, there's nothing else. We'll move on to news.
Let's do it.
Let's move on to news. Moving on up to the news page.
So on top of the 30-second trailer we talked about last week, there's a minute-long trailer now.
And that's a BBC American one, right?
Yes.
If you're not going to eat this digestive, I'm totally going to...
Oh, help yourself, yeah.
I'm
There's
pouncing
more.
all over it. I know, but it's
4-second rule, I
it's
picked it up
sitting
before.
here taunting me.
4-second rule, I picked it up before.
Our floor's fairly clean.
You can't eat. You got to read the news.
I just did. There's a trailer. We're not going to play the trailer.
All right,
No, but we're going to talk about it. Sean, what'd you think?
It looks exciting.
Dalek. Weeping Angel.
Sorry.
More intriguement for the upcoming special. I saw it and went, okay.
I haven't watched it yet.
Whet my taste a little bit more. So
I'm really trying hard to remain spoiler free. And once again, I read something online and I didn't want to, and I didn't mean to. And it's like, I hope this does not mean what I'm beginning to think it means.
For being a minute long, it really didn't give up more than any of the other things we've seen before. There's a couple more longer shots of somebody who I'm suspecting is somebody, and so maybe I have spoiled myself. Now that I think about it.
Are you talking about the lady with the stripe across her face?
Yeah, that might be who I'm talking about.
I don't think that's who you think it is.
Okay, good.
I don't know who you think it is.
I don't know who you think it is, but I don't think it's who you think it is.
According to the publicity.
Ah, okay.
Well, yes, it's someone from his past.
It's who you think it is.
It's someone new.
That's what I suspect, but... All right. Well, what else?
Well, there's some cool stuff in there. There's a nice callback to the God Complex. There's shots from the God Complex. So it looks like we're going to tackle what was in Room 11.
Yep.
It looks very exciting.
I'm often say we're going to wrap up a lot of the mysteries of...
And very sad.
Am I the only person who totally believes that it was the War Doctor was in that room?
I need to go back and rewatch the episode.
Because with the reaction, I say he opens the door and goes, "Oh, of course, it had to be you," and he's almost disappointed that that's what is his greatest fear is that he became. And it totally made sense after I watched 50. It's like that's what was in the room. That's solved.
Maybe he'll just confirm that.
I don't know.
Maybe
John Hurt's in it.
Maybe it's Peter Capaldi. That's who was in the room.
Oh, maybe it is.
And that would be his greatest fear is next regeneration.
Yeah, next regen. But how would he know who it was? If you went in, you don't know what you're going to look like,
true.
what you're going to be.
There's a big number 12 over his head. Wait, maybe
14.
They also have released details for the Time of the Doctor Blu-ray and DVD release, which will hit March 4th.
When?
March 4th in the U.S.
Oh, man, that's a long wait.
January 20th
That is a
in the
long
UK.
wait.
For a Christmas special.
Are you going to buy it?
Probably.
You're
I
going
don't
to
know.
wait and see if it gets
I'm-
added? I mean,
I
the
keep-
thing with this one, and this happened with, I think, the Christmas Carol, is you'll have it for a long time before you get a box
Doctor's
set.
the Widow and the Wardrobe.
Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe.
Because that
okay.
came out, in 2011?
Yeah.
And the DVD probably March 2012, and then we didn't get the set till this
So
year.
you'll have it for a long time. So to me, it's not a wasted purchase, honestly. And then, you know...
Except how many times am I going to go back and rewatch this?
It did well. Maybe it'll blow you away, and you might. Maybe it'll be just the best episode ever, and you'll say, even though Matt leaves,
It's the greatest episode ever
What's-
until the last 5 minutes.
I'll just stop it
I'll just
before the
stop
last
it.
5 minutes.
there.
Whenever
If
I
I
feel
shut
like
the DVD off,
it never
then he
happened.
won't regenerate.
It'll get up to dun dun click.
Look, I save the Doctor every time I watch this.
Chrissy, I fixed Caves of Adrazani for you.
I've built myself a styrofoam key to time so that I can feel like it's a little more interactive, and I create a time loop, and I just hit rewind.
It's going to be a decent price. Suggested for the Blu-ray is $20.
So it'll only be one disc.
Yeah, it is only one disc. $15 for the DVD. The bonus features include.
That tells me they're going to put it on a box set. Yeah.
I don't know. These bonus features are long.
Well, but that tells me that they want to get some
Traction.
traction out of it, so that they'll
I don't know. We'll see. Bonus features include Time of the Doctor Behind the Lens, Farewell to Matt Smith, an hour-long special looking back at his tenure as a Doctor, and then the Tales from the TARDIS, a look back at the full 50-year history, which it's a different title than what's on the 50th look back, so I'm assuming it's different. I'm assuming it's
It's
the
like
one
a
that's
part
aired
2.
before.
Dear BBC, we love the behind the lens features. They're very cool. But you know what? They used to be called Doctor Who Confidential. And that was really cool, too. Just saying.
Bring them back, please.
So that's coming too.
There you go. Well, we had some big announcements recently, too.
Con announcements.
Con announcements.
Gone!
Speaking of,
Announcements.
Speaking of which, locally, our area con,
Con's coming?
it'd be a miracle, wouldn't it?
Which one?
Good question.
well, might be kind of hard to get Ricardo to a convention.
That's
But
what I was referring to being a miracle.
I don't know. It might be pretty much a miracle to get Benjamin. Dang
We
it.
could probably,
He was doing
get
so
Benjamin
well,
to
too.
Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
We got some big Star Trek guests coming.
We did for Planet Comic.
Pretty much a reunion. On top of Will Wheaton, who has already announced that he was coming back. Marina Sirtis, is that how you say her name? I'm not sure. Gates McFadden, Michael Dorn, Jonathan Frakes, LeVar Burton, and Brent Spiner are coming in addition to Will.
So if you're keeping score at home, yes, the entire cast of Next Gen,
Minus
except for
7 of
Patrick
the
Stewart,
8 of the cast.
is going to be at our
I wonder if
con.
Wouldn't
they're
that be
working
awesome
on
if
it.
he came?
I wonder if it's not like a hush.
Yeah.
If they're working on it.
Because, to be quite honest with you, we have really good chance of him coming since Days of Future Past is coming out next year. Because that is
true.
In fact, Fox might actually pay or subsidize Planet Comic-Con to bring him there, knowing that they'll talk about Days of Future Past, and it'll give them some run-up and some publicity. So,
true.
fingers crossed.
I bet if they do a separate panel just for Patrick Stewart,
Fingers crossed. In fact, Planet Comic-Con guys, if they're listening, maybe, and they hadn't thought of this.
Hey, Kirk.
If they hadn't
I
thought
know
of this,
some
maybe
guys
they
that'd be
should
willing
call
to
20th
to
Century
moderate that
Fox.
panel.
Maybe they should call 20th Century Fox and say, hey, can you help us out here with... Anyway.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
That's very exciting, though. It's a huge Furicon.
It is huge.
To get that
it's
number
I'm so excited to go to Planet Comic-Con this year. So, no Doctor Who guests mentioned yet, but we're still
Well,
still
we're
holding
gonna
out.
be there.
Well, yes, we will be there.
We haven't mentioned yet. They haven't announced this.
That's true.
No Doctor Who celebrities yet.
We're gonna be there.
We are far from
I am
celebrities.
a legend in my own mind.
You are. You're a
Thousands of
cerebral
listeners.
celebrity.
And I'm wearing a paper hat.
Paper crown.
Make it so.
I watched that Make It Snow video.
Isn't that awesome?
That is epic.
It's the amount of editing that went into that. I really appreciate.
Oh.
And all clips
Well,
are
and
different.
yeah.
Sean's going to get to see a Doctor Who guest that's been announced recently.
Oh yeah, it was kind of
A big guess for Galley.
a minor brouhaha erupted.
Yes. Why do you do that?
Small name.
Why do you do that?
What? A minor
Kind
brouhaha?
after us for doing that. Then he's like, "There's a little guest." They got me.
That's a major guest. I'm very excited.
It is. It's huge.
It's huge.
Who is it?
Tom Baker. Ha! Fooled you. Wasn't that big? No.
He got on a boat yesterday.
He'll be there.
He'll be in LA in 2 months.
A slow boat from England.
Not even 2 months, is it? It'll be less than 2
Yeah,
months.
less than 2 months.
I should start saving.
Now that Christmas is
He's hoping he
over.
gets his school check soon.
Yeah, it'll come in January. Earmarked that. Billy Piper. Rose
The
Tyler.
moment's coming.
The moment is coming.
The moment. The moment is coming. The moment has been prepared for.
At Galley, I bet it has.
So this is her first major appearance at a fan convention in North America. That is huge for
That's
Galley.
really huge for Galley.
Welcome, Billy. I know she listens to this
Oh,
show.
yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we soon we'll be able to call her friend of the show, Billy
Friend
Piper.
of the show, Pilot Piper. I expect you to get an interview.
That's going to make it really hard to choose who I want you to bring back autographs
Interview.
for now.
I'm still expecting you to go. You haven't been yet.
I know.
And I'm giving serious consideration taking next year off, so...
Stars have to align really, really
Which would
well.
stink because then there'd only be one of us going then too because Keith and I can't go at the same time. So
Well,
Assuming one of us can go next year.
yeah, y'all gonna have to figure this
I'm
out.
shooting for next year. So
Y'all's gonna have to figure this out. Because I really want to go to Chicago TARDIS, and I just really don't think I can swing both in the same year. So...
I wouldn't mind trying
All
to go to LI Who next year either.
is that all? Probably not.
You know what? Let's just do
They're
the
doing
trifecta.
I know they're doing one, but I don't think we're going to be able to make
Let's just do the trifecta.
I don't know, when is it?
all three.
Let's just do all three of them. And Gen Con.
So we move on to feedback.
And Timegate.
And Time Gate. And Dragon Con.
Who's first in feedback?
First up, Michelle sent us a tweet and letting us know that the Enemy of the World DVD, the different cover on the Enemy of the World DVD, is just a sleeve.
Yay! So Sean is getting his cash together for you now, Michelle, for you to purchase one.
save it
Since
for
the other thing we wanted to know, Michelle, is what's
What
the
about the
spine
spine?
look like?
Yeah.
Oh, that's November too. Sorry.
Elihu, yes, it's,
Yeah.
it's November.
I'll tell you what, if it's not within 200 miles of here, I'm not going to more than just one. If there's some within driving distance, then yeah, perhaps I'll go to a couple.
See,
But
it's
next
not-
year I'm shooting for Galley.
What
It's
if
just
we
a
promise...
plain hump for my
the year after
sisters,
next
so
year,
I could go.
That's true.
Bear
What if we
together.
promised that we would discuss Days of Future Past on our podcast, and we could get 20th Century Fox to subsidize our going?
There you go.
You think that'd work?
Yeah,
They might buy
I mean,
that?
because we have so many listeners, they'll go there. There's a reach right there. We'll get the word out with those guys.
Fox, you're doing it all wrong. You don't need to buy commercial time and put posters in subways. It's been done and it's tired. You need to go with the Local Boy podcast. That's how you get this.
So, Michelle, thanks for sending us the tweet and the picture, and I'm excited that the cover of the actual DVD is more in line with what we already have.
Yes.
I'm curious with the
Does it match
spine.
your other ones is what we want to know.
Curious about the spine.
So sure, take a picture of the spine and send it to us. But thank you for letting us know that. And yes, I am still putting my list together. It'll probably be after Christmas that I, wire you some funds.
All right, who's next?
Can I drop box money?
Bit curtains.
Up next, Scott. No, wait, I'm wrong. Mark.
You're wrong.
Oh,
You're
see,
wrong.
I thought I knew what I was doing, and then you pulled that out.
Failure on my part.
Just yanked the tablecloth right out from underneath me and said, balance.
Sorry, I got excited about Time Gate.
Yanked the puzzle out and wobbled it.
Wobble, wobble, wobble. Mark writes, hey guys, due to a lot of work, a hectic social life, and a lot of writing on the side, I'm about 3 months behind on your podcast. I intend on catching up over Christmas, but this will be the most of your episodes I've ever listened to in one run. I started listening to your podcast the day after episode 10 was realized, then went on to listen to all 10 consecutively. So 3 months of episodes with 4 episodes per month means, an awful lot of catching up to do. And I'm really looking forward to it. God, I've just realized that I was only 15 when I started listening to you guys, and I celebrated my 18th birthday 3 months ago. But time is all relative, I guess. On behalf of Traveling the Vortex, Mark, happy belated birthday wishes. It sounded better in my head.
Does that make anyone else feel old?
Just a little bit.
That we've been doing this that it doesn't realize that we've been doing this podcast that long.
Yeah.
Mark's legal. Wow.
I've been legal for 4 times over now. 5 times over. Nearly 5 times over.
Since we started the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, he continues, I'm just sending this message to wish you and your listeners a Merry Christmas, or a Happy Winter Festive Holiday, as I've heard it referred to in England lately. I just thought I'd let the 3 of you know that, in the most manly way possible, I love you all, and wish you a very well-deserved rest over the winter festive holiday. The same goes to Mel and Sarah and Holly, was it? It's been a while. I can't remember everybody's name.
That is correct.
Anyway, that's it from me. I better go and mentally prepare myself for the end of Matt Smith's era as the Doctor. Good luck, Keith. From your number 1 fans, Mark Lee and Donna. The reindeer, not the ginger.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. And happy winter festive holiday to you as well.
And we love you also.
Yes.
In the manliest way possible.
Up next is Scott.
Up next is Scott. Scott from Philadelphia. Hi, Kansas crew. It's been a while since I wrote real life work and all that, but I have been enjoying all the anniversary specials and events. Today, though, I wanted to write in to pay tribute to Matt Smith. You know I'm a longtime Who fan, and Tom Baker will always be my doctor, but I was surprised to realize Matt Smith has become my number 2. After the emo ending of Tenet, Matt's takeover was a much-needed breath of fresh air. He bounced and bumped around like a big puppy. Still, he never played the part exactly the same. Each season, he brought more heft, more weight, more, wait for it, gravitas to the role. The Doctor in the cowboy hat at the start of The Impossible Astronaut is slightly different from the one who meets in the diner after his death. You can believe time has passed. I loved his relationship with the Pawns. They were literally his modern family, and when they were snatched from him, you saw the toll it took. Amy Pond, aside from the bone jumping attempt in her bedroom, to me was
God,
just
that's
like
still cringing.
was just like the Doctor's little sister. Some of my favorite scenes are when they are just sitting and talking together, like in The Power of Three and The Angels Take Manhattan. Whenever I see the Doctor wearing Amy's glasses now, it gets me. No son-in-law ever had such a deep relationship with his wife's mom. This was a man I believed once had a wife, kids, and a granddaughter. His romance with River was also great to see develop. The chemistry wasn't there at the start, but once it started to happen, there was a more relaxed give and take between them. Back to Angels in Manhattan. I am sold on River and Doctor as a married couple, getting angry, showing worry and compassion, trying to protect each other. By the name of the Doctor, when they have their, so far, final kiss, it's a romantic moment I want them to have, and I hated all the Doctor/Rose stuff. I'm sure there are people who think he was a silly Doctor because he was so funny, but he could change gears and get serious in a split second. He gave some amazing, passionate speeches full of anger and bravado. He usually stopped short of that angry God's self-righteousness. Here's something. Look at the scenes in the anniversary where he's locked up with Tennant and Hurt. He's the youngest actor, but the oldest doctor. He stays true to himself, but I believe he's the oldest. He's very aware of where he is and what's going on around him. As soon as they enter the cell, he starts working on scratching out the message to bring help. Even as they start getting shouty, he can appreciate the irony of what's happening. Matt Smith is just a great actor. Matt's legacy should include him being the American Doctor, since during his run the character exploded in popularity, especially here. I think one day bow ties will sit alongside long scarves as definitive Doctor Who icons. I wish Matt Smith had stayed one more season. I know he had one more in him, but it's better to leave too soon than too late, and I know he won't be all right. He'll be amazing. Thank you very much.
Very well said, Scott. I agree with everything.
You know, it's funny. It feels like such... We've been doing this podcast as long as Matt Smith's been the Doctor.
Yeah, we started with
Christmas Carol.
Yeah, I was just thinking that the other day.
It just hit me.
But there was a season before that.
There was a season before that. Oh, yeah, because then we went back and caught up.
I suppose that's true.
Yeah,
So
Christmas Carol's after series.
He's been longer. Okay, well, never mind then.
But we started this series. We started this podcast with Matt Smith.
Right.
Yeah.
But
and we're going to end the podcast with Matt Smith. I have an announcement for next week. No,
I'm not coming back.
Well, that's good. I've got Matt. I've got Matt in the wings. He's waiting. So he's so ready.
What else is he doing?
He's so ready. But yeah, do you think? I mean, we spend all this time talking about things, and you hear when it's encapsulated. When you take 3 years and you kind of boil it down to what they just gave us. Do you think maybe that? God forbid, 10 years from now, we go back and look at this. Will we still be talking about the Matt Smith era with the same sense of, what's hitting us now?
Yep.
Will it age? Will it get better with age? Will it be one of those things that will go, wow, we really didn't realize how great we had it with Matt? Or will it be the Stephen Moffat years? They were kind of like, John Nathan Turner Part 2. Because now we're in the true golden age of Who revival, and I don't know.
Oh, that's that bonus feature I watched. Whenever you came to it, is the golden age. Whenever you came to Who, that's your golden age.
I disagree with that, but
for the most part, a lot of people came to David Tennant in their time, and that's their golden age.
I disagree with that, because if you look at 50 years as a whole, you can set up golden, silver, and modern age. I agree. I'm sorry.
I guess it depends.
I see what they're alluding to.
People trying to come
overall, as a statement, I don't think it is.
It's the idea that it was better back then.
Right.
Well, people trying to say that they came to it in the wilderness years. I don't think that anybody would count that as the golden age of Who, but anyway,
I think that's the exception.
The exception rather than the rule.
The golden age of Doctor Who is the movie. A lot of people would disagree with that.
Yeah, I worked hard on a guy that he was standing there in front of my end cap, and he had it in his hands like it was some dusty relic that he had never seen before. And so I slid it up. I was like, "You've never seen that one?" Because I was like, "You must see that one." I think I creeped him out.
Did he end up buying it?
Oh, he went running, screaming from the store.
I won't watch that one. That guy's too creepy.
And then I had to tackle him because he shoplifted.
Oh, I'm going to watch it all right.
No, he wound up buying the 50th anniversary.
That's good
because he hadn't seen that either. And I'm like, "Oh, dude, you got to watch that." And he went on and on and on about it.
So he bought the 50th anniversary.
He bought the 50th
He's going
anniversary.
to pop in. He's going to go, "What's this night of the Doctor?"
Yeah.
He's going to watch it. And he's going to go, "Who's this 8th Doctor guy? Huh? I want to know more about him." And he'll come back to the story and he'll say,
back to the movie.
"Should have bought the other one, shouldn't you?"
Like, here, take it now.
Sold.
I'm just happy we have Who stuff in the store finally, and it's moving. It's all moving.
Good.
So. Anyway,
Well, thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Up next is Chrissy. She says, "It doesn't do turkey. Dear Vortex boys, this is not any way a dig at what you guys do. but I will say the only time that your tangents ever bore me is when you guys talk about films that should be Oscar nominated. Because 95% of the time, those movies are ones that I have no interest in nor intention of seeing. Many I haven't even heard of unless they're sci-fi or an actor from something I'm interested in is also in one of the movies. Example, Jennifer Lawrence in Silver Linings Playbook. By no means am I saying you should stop discussing such things because it's something you enjoy, and I'm not the only listener you guys have, and there are probably others who do enjoy it. But I do tend to fast forward through your Oscar banter because nothing I like ever gets nominated and have next to no interest in any of it. I'll gladly sit through discussions of rain gutters and ladders at Home Depot, but the Oscar analysis, not so much. Keith.
So who's taking home the golden statue this year?
Actually, I was going to talk about rain gutters. If you really want to keep the leaves out of the gutters
at Home Depot earlier.
You know what? Seriously, no lie. What makes an awesome leaf block for your gutter is an Oscar statuette. You just cram that thing right down in there, and
no problem.
Nothing's getting through there, baby.
Roll out the red carpet, up the ladder. Carry the Oscar
you got from Home Depot.
We've been poking fun at you all podcast, Chris, if you hadn't noticed.
Keith, bizarre indie film is a redundant phrase. All indie films are bizarre. I don't agree. I'm trying to come up with an example that's disproving it.
And failing misery.
I think Garden State's bizarre.
No, it's bizarre. I love it, but it's bizarre.
Glenn,
It's
opinion?
bizarre. It certainly has a lower level of bizarreness to other films, but it still has that certain level of bizarre.
Okay. I'm going to work on that, Chrissy. I'll get back to you. I will find an indie film that's not bizarre. She continues, The Time Machine. After finishing this, I want to go back and listen to all the Destiny of the Doctor story. Okay, well, maybe not the Space Buffalo. But now that I know how it all fits together, I kind of see how the overarching plot works. But I also enjoy this one on its own. I like Alice Watson as a companion, and she'd be a great character for Big Finish to expand on once they get the rights to the 11th Doctor. In 20 or 30 years, when Matt Smith is finally available to come back to play the Doctor on audio. Jenna Coleman did a fantastic job narrating the story, and I hope this doesn't sound strange, but I really like her natural accent. It fits her quite well. She must tone it down a little bit when she plays Clara, but I'd like it if she stuck with it on TV. Anyway, enjoyable story, great wrap up to this series. As for the 11th Doctor retrospective, I thought I was going to have a really hard time thinking of which episode I thought would be representative of the Doctor's era, barring the time of the Doctor pulling off an upset in a week or so. So I actually settled on the Snowman, being the most representative. Some of the major themes in the story of 11's era have focused on memory and remembrance, with overtones of fairy tale mythical elements. At the end of Series 5, the Doctor implores Amy Pond to remember him, and she's able to bring him back from beyond the cracks in the universe. In Series 6, River Song creates a paradox to keep herself from killing the Doctor because the universe doesn't agree that the Doctor should go away, in spite of the terrible things he's done. And then you have Series 7, with Clara Oswald, the impossible girl who went back in the Doctor's timeline when the great intelligence threatened his past. And I think the essence of that theme comes in at its very best in The Snowman, with the Doctor cutting himself off from the rest of the world, but being brought out of his isolation by meeting Clara. She reminds him of who he is and the things he does best, which is something that Vastra, Ginny, and Strax were unable to do. Over and over again, the companions in this era are asked to remember the Doctor in order to keep him in existence, which is kind of a commentary.
Except for Strax, because he touched the memory worm.
Which is kind of a commentary on Doctor Who as a show. The only reason it survived this long is because fans remembered it and kept it alive, and now fans like RTD and Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss and a whole host of others are in a position to keep it going and not just barely surviving, but actually thriving as an entity. Seeing as the Matt Smith era was the era that celebrated 50 years of Doctor Who, I think it's a very appropriate theme to carry through this time. Another thing, characteristics of Eleven's era, which goes back to the fairy tale mythical overtones, is that scientific explanation is often used to make those fantastical plot elements work. Like snowmen appearing out of nowhere because it's really the great intelligence relying on telepathic fields to create monstrous things out of innocent objects. But what really sells these mythical overtones is the 11th Doctor himself. His personality is, for a lack of better terms, so fairy tale. He keeps the myth going for his companions even when he's spouting off technobabble. It sounds otherworldly and ethereal when he's explaining it. I really don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's the whole old man in a young man's body, and he's really keen on keeping secrets. Sort of like a magician playing magic tricks that look like it's actually magic. But he knows the science behind it, but he doesn't want you to see the science because it would ruin the wonder of it all. That's something I've latched onto and appreciated in Eleven's era because I love fantasy stories and I love magic, and I don't like to have everything wondrous explained away in a bunch of dry, science-y technobabble. The 11th Doctor struck all those perfect tones for me, and it's something that I'm always going to look fondly on, even when I'm fangirling all over Peter Capaldi's 12th Doctor. Plus, 11 was the Doctor that was on TV when I started watching Who, so he's always going to be a favorite of mine anyway. I'll close this up for now. I just got home for Christmas, and the dog wants me to pay attention to her. For some reason, she thinks she's more important than writing feedback. I hope everyone has a safe and Merry Christmas, and I hope you all get what you want. Well, I know Keith isn't going to get what he wants, because I'm sure he wants Matt Smith to stay on as a Doctor, and we all know how that's going to turn out. You're going to be surprised, Chrissy. He's going to actually stick around and not regenerate. It's all a big MacGuffin. Keep those tissues handy, and we'll either...
Wouldn't that just be the ultimate Stephen Moffat? We used to be able to do surprises on the show.
Yeah, he's not actually regenerating. He's
surprise.
Going for season 8.
A whole nother season.
Keep those tissues handy, and we'll either commiserate or celebrate on Wednesday night via Twitter or Facebook. Love to you all. Chrissy.
We're getting all kinds of love then, aren't we?
It's the Christmas time.
It's Christmas time.
Christmas time is here. Time for joy and time for tears. Because we know Matt's leaving, despite what Keith keeps saying. I don't have a happy ending to that song.
Oh, I was pulling something up. You know why we're getting all sort of love?
Why?
Click the lyrics. Sorry. It's loading still.
You know my pain now.
It's true. Wherever you find love, it feels like Christmas.
It's another Led Actually reference.
No, it's a Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, it is a Muppet Christmas Carol, yeah.
Oh, I didn't get to enjoy the Muppet Christmas Carol.
It feels like Christmas.
That's right.
Oh, it's this. Okay, yeah.
It's the Christmas present song. Up next is Holly.
Holly writes, "Hey guys, the last Destiny of the Doctor audio story. Got a lot of references to Alice in Wonderland, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and of course Sherlock Holmes. Also love the Back to the Future reference that got tossed in the mix as well. Shivers?
Chivers.
Chivers. Chivers is an interesting duck. Ooh, an interesting duck. Almost had me wondering if he wasn't another Time Lord that was hidden just like Professor Yana. I was really wondering toward the end of the story if we were even going to get an explanation for the previous meetings of the 11th Doctor and his previous selves, and that got tied up nicely. Glenn, you weren't the only one that had to go back and re-listen to this one. There was so much going on in the last part where everything gets explained. Well, it does go by a bit quick. The 11th Doctor era. Well, what to say. Hard to believe that Matt Smith's time is ending. Seems like yesterday he was popping out of the crashed TARDIS meeting young Amelia Pond for the first time. Like they say, time flies when you're having fun. He can be quite the big kid and loves to have fun, but when push comes to shove and things get pretty dangerous, you do get flashes of the series Dark Doctor when he gets pushed a bit too far. It's too hard for me to describe or decide which episode really encompasses the 11th Doctor. There are just so many good stories. So I'll wrap it up here. Looking forward to hearing everyone's thoughts on the Time Machine and the 11th Doctor's era. Holly from Wisconsin.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you, Holly.
Well, what are we going to do first? Time Machine?
I think we should do Time Machine first, since we're going to
I think we should do the Revisited.
wrap up the retrospective.
We haven't talked about the Revisited.
Yes, we have.
No, we haven't.
Yes, we have.
No, we haven't.
Yeah.
No, it's on the schedule for this week. It really is part of the show.
No, we've done
I am not making this up. We mentioned it last week that we had to talk about it this week.
No, we talked about it last
we did
week.
talk about it last week.
No. Pull it up. What you
We
got there?
talked about it last
We
week.
did not.
Yes, we did, Sean.
The article, yeah. Or yeah. We talk about our impressions on this last installment to the BBC America series, looking back on all the Doctors thus far.
Really?
It's in the show notes.
Yeah. We talked about Dr.
I thought you were joking with him and messing with him.
No.
That's why I was laughing, because I thought you were just messing with Glenn.
Apparently I'm having a senior moment. Okay, well,
Stroke.
Normally we do it the same time, but
I thought we had it on the schedule for this week.
nope.
Huh. Did I like
wow, Sean.
Did I like it?
Did you watch it again? Is that why you didn't?
Did I like it?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had
Came
favorable
down the
things
side
on
that
it.
you enjoyed it, and really, you don't remember? Wow.
It's retail.
Wow.
All blurry, huh?
Brenda, see what you have to look forward to.
The good news is all we're talking about next week is the Christmas special, so you won't have anything else to
Another
worry
homework?
Nothing else to worry about.
I'll show up next week. I read War and Peace. What did you guys do? I'm ready. Let's talk Tolstoy.
All right, let's talk a little bit about
The Time Machine.
Time Machine.
Hold on, I got a synopsis.
No.
Yes, I do.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
23rd November 2013. In an Oxford laboratory, graduate Alice Watson helps Professor Chivers assemble the final pieces of an impossible machine, a time machine.
That's your synopses.
That's the short synopsis, yes.
Okay.
That's the first paragraph of the publisher's synopsis. That's my synopsis.
Yay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun,
Cool.
dun, dun. I enjoyed it.
Just a dun dun
I
dun.
enjoyed it.
It was enjoyable. Really, it's an interesting idea and story that, unfortunately, I think only makes sense because of the entire plot pulling everything together.
And I think that's what I like best about it. It's because as this trucked along, it really didn't feel like it was going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the whole... I mean,
Which? The time machine or the entire
the time
destiny of the
machine.
Doctor?
Until the time machine. It isn't until all hope is lost, and unfortunately we're going to have to spoil it for you. It isn't until all hope is lost, and you really feel like, wow, we're in a bind. But I knew something had to work things out to wrap it up, because we've been sticking with this
we're
series.
not going to live in a world
But
where the
to be quite honest
things
with you,
have taken
getting
over.
most of the way through this thing and not having any callback to what we've been doing before, I got a little concerned. But I think the setup story is very enjoyable. I absolutely loved Jenna Coleman reading this. I think she did a
She did a very
fantastic
good
job
job.
as Alice, or reading for Alice Watson. That was the interesting thing about this, is it's not Clara who's a companion in it. It's Alice Watson.
It's set before he meets Clara.
Yeah, and so I really enjoyed that. I thought the character was really intriguing. I like the idea of a character that's completely grounded in reality. Has never read any sort of literature. Has never read any sort of fantasy.
It's a cool idea, but
knows very little about movies. It is a little hard
takes a
to.
bit
It
step
is
too far.
Yeah,
like
it
not
is a
knowing
little,
any story.
yeah,
period.
because
That's
even
a bit too
going
much.
through and never seeing the movies, some of the big ones, the iconic ones, you at least pick up pop culture references to them. So that was a bit weird, especially the Back to the Future one. But I did like some of the references, as Holly pointed out, to a lot of the culture and media. But the first, really, 2/3 of the story was just kind of, I was going along, and I didn't feel like I was lost until towards the end, when I felt like we were wrapping things up, and I was like, we really haven't gone anywhere with this. But then the wrap-up, and I had to go, actually, when I listened to the reference back, and I love the fact that we used the cube, the communication
as
cube.
soon as that reference to, and the doctor realizes what it was, I knew, oh, wait, now...
That's going to be our vehicle.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that we used that, and I think they did a nice job. Again, I listened to it once, and it had been so long since I'd heard a lot of these that I just couldn't. I could remember vague references to them, so things were familiar throughout it. But it was happening so fast. It was going so fast, and Jenna Coleman does a fantastic job as the Doctor. I think she's got the cadence and the pacing and everything down.
She knows Matt,
and so. When they're putting this all together, it flies by so fast that I had to actually go back and listen to it again to make sure that I got everything and that they covered everything, because there were some things that I thought got lost in the mix the first time, and when I went back,
some weren't clear until I read it on TARDIS Wiki.
Well, that was the thing, is when I went back, they were a little more clear the second time, because I wasn't having to focus on everything. I was then now focusing. Okay, so I remember that. Oh, yeah, that's right. This is where this happened. So I was able to focus on the things I missed the first time a little harder, and we're able to print. And then, after you told me about the wiki, I went back just before the show and was flipping through everything, and it really connects really well.
Yeah, it really does.
Well, so I commend them for being able to use that plot thread and kind of
bring it all back.
Bring it all back. Now, it does feel rushed, and it does feel like an info dump moment, which I think could have been handled better. I would have liked this story to pace along and have those things realized as we went. However, you couldn't have had such an epic doomsday device. You couldn't have had an epic moment this was time in peril, and they had to push it that far in order to make it a very impactful 11th story in this series. And so the way that they devised it, I don't think you could have done it in any other way. However, I would have liked it. I don't think it could have been done much different than the way they did, to kind of wrap everything up and show you how all of this came together so that he could thwart the crevice. Is that what they were called? Crivix. But I thought this was considering we've had so many ups and downs with this series, I think this was a
good finish.
Good finish for this storyline, and really done. And I was quite concerned where they were going to go with this.
Was it a
from
big
the
finish?
Beginning? From the very beginning, I was very concerned where they were going to go with this, and I think they wrapped it up nicely. So that's how I felt.
I think part of why, for me, I had so much trouble with it was I didn't refresh myself on any of the previous stories, and completely forgot about the character of Cedric.
Oh, well, see,
from February.
It wasn't until
I was like, wait, that name sounds familiar. Why?
It wasn't until
and then he mentioned
the times are a changing that my brain started going. Okay, I remember that. Oh, this is this guy. That's why.
Even when I went up, I read the description of who he was, and I was like, I kind of remember that. Oh, okay. And then, as it went on further and explained more, that I realized
the Dylan reference was the best way to hook you on that one, because it was going to be so long since they needed something super familiar, and that was very well done, I thought.
I liked... I don't remember what I was going to say now at this point. Sean? You didn't get to finish it.
I suffered from kind of the same problem, I think. As I was listening to it, there were things that were... It sped along almost too quickly, and there were things that I wasn't quite catching, and I found myself backing it up and re-listening to parts, trying to make sure that I was following where this thread was going. And got all the way up. I've got about 10 minutes left to go. So it was right at the start of the info dump and explaining how all this ties in that I've trailed off on. And
I think what was smart with the info dump is to let you know, hey, this is starting now.
Yeah,
it's to start telegraph. With the mention of Ian. being the teacher. That's where it starts.
Right,
And that
right.
was the smartest thing, because you hear that name and you instantly perk up.
Okay, here,
Oh, wait.
we're going back.
Wait. Yeah.
We're going back. We're going all the way back. Now,
So
I
that was a
thought
good way
that
to
there
do
was
it.
going to be more importance to... In fact, I thought there was going to be more connection to a lot of the companions.
Oh,
but
yeah.
when they do that, because, I mean, Ian wasn't important for that first story they did,
No.
other than connecting us to that day.
Yeah.
So that worked real well. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
Yeah,
you're okay. I could just... I think the problem with it that I've got is kind of what you said, is that it's not a standalone story. There's absolutely nothing in the 11th Doctor installment of this that really works as a standalone, because it is so keystone integral to the rest of the rest of the
what
structure.
happened previously.
Now, admittedly, we knew that going into it,
Right,
because
right.
the 11th Doctor shows up in all of the other adventures, in some way, shape, or form, giving that message. But it very much feels like one that, even when I have finished it, I'm going to need to go back and re-listen to it to make sure that I got it. And maybe it's just that dense that there's a lot of material to get through with the way it's tied together. The Krieviks, honestly, I was a little disappointed so far in them as a villain. They're just kind of this monstrous thing. They're just the bad guys, and they haven't really
That's
impressed
the thing,
me yet.
though,
But
is they just had to be the bad guys.
That's all they. That's the only
All
thing.
they needed in this. And
I mean, they're not space buffaloes.
no, here's the thing with the Krivises.
That would have been disappointing.
They are locusts.
He's really the big bad of the.
They're just
Yeah,
locusts. They are
true.
feeding on time.
They're literally anthropomorphized locusts.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was fine with the fact that there wasn't a lot of character or build-up or backstory with them, because I didn't feel that there needed to be, because they served the purpose for this story. Now, I might have thought of that had we not had this, okay, we've got to connect this all together and make it important. I might have felt that, because, like I say, the first 2/3 of the story is just, it just kind of goes along and doesn't really do anything.
Although I think it starts off with a brilliant premise with
It does.
with Professor Chivers and
sending
him
back his
sending
information
back-
so that he can create this time
and then
machine.
the fact that he has to then send it back in order to create it to begin with.
Right.
So he has
He has to cause
finish
the
this
loop.
cause.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very cool idea
cause and
that
effect
they realize that really well. I think
Yeah. And I think that works for this story
that
as well.
that gets you interested
Yeah.
to get to.
It piques your interest.
Yeah.
But in doing that, he's created that paradox that the Krivis are basically feeding off of, or using
Yeah.
as their tool. Yeah.
Was it Chrissy or Holly who mentioned the professor feeling like he could have been another Yana? Was it Holly?
yeah.
It was Holly, wasn't it?
I thought
so too.
I thought of the
initially.
professor from Shada more than
I got that too.
Oh, Kronos.
yeah. I thought more of Kronos. This guy's actually really he's just pretending to be it.
No. what the heck was it?
Chronosis. Yeah, Chronosis sounds right.
Chronotis.
Chronotis.
Professor Chronotis.
Because Kronos was the monster in the Time Monster in
Yeah.
Atlantis. Chronotis.
Professor Chronotis. It still doesn't sound right, though.
Keith will look
I'm
it up.
looking it up right now.
He
Hold
always
on.
does. We can count on Keith to look
Keith
it
will
up.
look it up. But no, and I think because it was set at Cambridge, and then we get the
Chronotis.
joke
Okay. Chronotis.
about the porter when he says, "Oh, saving the world again, Doctor! Oh, saving the whole universe this time." And we get the joke that we've been here before. You know,
That was
so.
a neat little nod, I thought,
Yeah.
too. I was like, oh, hey, that's cool.
So I didn't know how much of it was Shada related just because it was set at Cambridge versus.
Maybe that's why I just automatically made the connection to Shada, but I never even thought of Yana.
Well, that could be, because that is in there.
Yeah. So
Would have been nice to have Chronotis show up, but
I'm sure there's probably a whole team of lawyers standing by preventing that from happening. There's just reading through the wiki. There's a lot in this.
it really is.
more so than any other.
It really does work. And connect.
And even the littlest things.
But
like,
don't read through the wiki. Don't require wiki.
Don't spoil yourself.
Well, just
That and don't. I mean, let's not use Wiki for this show. Anybody can go to Wiki.
Yeah.
This is our impressions. So.
Right, yeah. No. I just, regarding how all of these threads fit together into this one and how all of these pieces from all of the previous ones. I mean, there's stuff here that... there's stuff here that I had gotten to this point in the story, and I didn't get this.
I see.
So that's what I'm trying to say.
That's what helped going back and listening to just the end the second time. Is like I said, I'm with Chrissy. I need to go back. In fact, I kind of want to now go back and listen to the entire series again,
even
closer together.
Buffalo.
Even Space Buffalo. Well, because Space Buffalo, the story at least, is very important for creating that paradoxical point in that point, so that Six's TARDIS can. That's why Six's TARDIS disappeared, because it came it came forward to rescue the Doctor, to bring him back to 5 minutes before he's telling the story, so that he could walk in and tell this story. That was very cool. I really liked that. Now, did it make Space Buffalo better? No. But did it make the whole overall story of that story better? Yes. I could appreciate the Sixth Doctor's part in this now as well. So,
which in some parts were very small, like they were stretching to try to make it connect,
well,
like the Ninth Doctor's one.
I agree. And I think that you have to,
the Tenth Doctor one I thought was really cool.
Yes.
These two are the parents to... this time agent. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
Yeah. Which is fine, because, I mean, with something this large, it's going to be really hard. So even just subtle connections worked for me in this. And so I'm glad that they approached it in such a way that they didn't make everything really like pow, pow, pow. I mean, it would have been nice to have that, but even the subtle connections really worked well for me. Somebody sat down and, because when you do something like this, if you don't outline it from A to B,
somebody had to plan
or from A to Z, it's going to fall apart. To be quite honest with you, though, when you embark on a project this big, there's going to be, and you involve so many different writers, the outline can't be complex, because when the outline becomes complex, then there's no need to bring these writers in, because
they
don't
yourself.
Exactly. Well, they don't. There's no reason for them to have the creativity and come up with their own ideas. Mm-hmm. So what I appreciate from, who wrote this one? This was Mark Platt.
This one was Matt Fitton.
Matt Fitton. So what I appreciate from Matt Fitton in this one is that he was able to go back and find those connections, even though there was probably the outline built, but to be able to kind of then make it coherent and make sense, even though it takes you twice to listen to it, to make it work within the story. It really ends up being a great finale for this piece.
Yeah, it does.
I can't say anything bad about it, other than it just obviously feels like the info dump moment, but this is one of those times where the info dump moment is just really kind of necessary, because we got to do it. So I was accepting of it, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Sean, finish it and then listen to it again.
I'll immediately go back and refinish it.
Although now, having looked at your wiki and being able to connect it in your mind might help.
Yeah,
as well,
being able and not so much the timey-wimey nature of it, but just the way this is laid out with this capstone piece. I almost think having that roadmap in advance this would have been a wonderful big finish. Note to self: this would have been a wonderful one to have the previously in the Destiny of the Doctor series. Just maybe to hit some of those highlights before you get into this.
I was going to say Big Finish could learn from this, although you can't fault Big Finish for this at all, because all they did was help with the audio.
Yeah.
So
just note to self.
But before, yes.
Because now that we know that certain of the ones that we've listened to have 10 sequels in 3 different series, that was like, oh man. I hope there's a recap.
All right, well, shall we
not as high up on the list for me as, say, Babelsphere or the Second Doctor story, but it's been an enjoyable listen so far.
I refuse to rank this one because of what it is, because of what it needed to be. I refuse to put it up against anything else, because this wasn't a Doctor Who story. This was this is the capstone on the entire thing, and you could never bring yourself to this one and listen to it and then go, that was a good story or not, without having listened to anything else.
Well, it's like comparing the 11th comic,
the 12th comic,
11 or 12, to any of the previous ones, because 11 is all about getting to Adam.
Getting to the setup.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's all.
It's like
it's
part
the first
one of a
of the
two-part
capstone.
finale.
Yeah, this is the framework story for Trial of the Time Lord or Key to Time. It's all of the other stuff as opposed to the adventure
that's
stuff.
exactly right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing it, and once again, I'm the one that fell down on.
You've had a sick household. So.
I've had sick.
Yeah.
You would have thought that would have led to more time, but I'm looking forward
You're
to
too
finishing
busy
it.
taking pills to make sure you don't get sick.
Yeah, vitamin C.
So the 11th Doctor's era.
Well, first of all, let's talk about the poll.
Poll. With a whopping 4 votes, we got a tie for 2 different episodes.
So it's 8 votes.
8 votes total.
And you said we didn't get any people voting in this poll.
We got 21 people voting.
21 votes on this poll.
Guess who didn't vote in this one?
You?
I don't think I did. I think I let Sarah vote.
What would you have voted for?
I'll get to that.
Okay.
That's a really tough decision. A really tough decision.
All of them.
I wasn't boycotting the poll, by the way. I just forgot.
Just because it wasn't on the side rail, constantly reminding you.
No. I was so glad you put this in the actual post. That was so much better.
So, coming in tie for first place, the Pandorica opens Big Bang, and a good man goes to war. Coming in second place, a tie, with 2 votes apiece, Name of the Doctor, and the Impossible Astronaut Day of the Moon. Oh, I'm sorry, there's a 4-way tie for second.
Yeah.
Also including Vincent and the Doctor.
I don't think you have to go down through all of these. If you just want
And
to really
Wedding
kind
November
of
song.
wrap it up real quick there, I think that'd help.
That's it.
Yeah.
Others got voted for, but they only 1 vote. So,
Right.
so
So
there's
what do
a
you guys
tie.
think? What's the definitive Matt Smith episode?
Well, I think it's interesting that the poll indicates how split our listeners are on a very small handful of episodes. That these are the ones that everybody kind of went, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that
Well, it's surprising.
11th Hour didn't.
11th
rank.
Hour didn't get a vote.
Yeah, I would have thought for sure that one probably would have gone a little
Neither
higher.
did The Doctor's Wife, which a lot of people consider one of the best episodes of Who, period.
But we asked indicative
Well,
of the
it's
year.
true.
That's
Yeah.
very indicative of the era, yeah.
I think this is a very tough call between Pandorica Opens, Vincent and the Doctor, and the God Complex. I think the God Complex has a lot of that dealing with dark issues and ideas that the 11th Doctor does that a lot of people don't maybe not recognize. Kind of like what Scott was talking about. Well, it has a lot of those. He's being funny and witty, and then on a dime turning in God Complex. So I think that's a very good example. As is Pandorica Opens and Big Bang. I mean, all of these are great examples of what he does with his Doctor, what the writing is doing with the show, and the direction they're going with it. Vincent also, because there's that tragedy of what's going on with Vincent, and then there's a silly kind of monster going on. So it's, instead of the monster being the threat, it's reality being the threat, and that the heartfeltness along with the humor that melds so perfectly in this era.
So you've picked 3?
I picked 3. I think I went with 4 somehow.
Stories, though.
Yeah, so there's 1 for each season. Nope, that's not even true.
That's not even true. Yeah.
All the episodes, even
All the fields.
Victory of the
fields.
I knew
Daleks.
you were going to have a hard time pinning this one down.
Glenn?
I went with The Beast Below. Believe it or not, second
Really?
story in.
Wow.
I really did mull this over, and I kept going to everything, and I kept saying this era is really even as far as the Doctor goes. I think the Doctor is played very even. You know who this man is from every story. I think I went with The Beast Below mostly because of you see everything that the Doctor is going to be for the rest of the series. And we get a glimpse of that in the 11th Hour. This one really tells you who he is. And he is a man who's compassionate about kids, and he recognizes the things that aren't so obvious to everyone else. This is a man who is a lot of fun, and you can tell he's having a grand time with where he is and what he's doing and what's happening. This is a man who enjoys Amy's company. He's just met this woman, and he thoroughly seems to enjoy what she brings to this adventure. But then he turns around, and this is the man who is completely tore down and just heartbroken at what has been done to this whale that we're riding on, what humanity can be, and that he's the only one that can really take charge and change things, and then also then realizes that Amy has a lot more value to her in the end than he gave her credit for. And so I think all of those different aspects of this character just in this one little encapsulated show showed me, I didn't know it until I saw everything, but it showed me everything I needed to know about what this Doctor was going to be like. And so I think that's my best representative episode of the 11th Doctor.
That's a very good argument.
That's a very good argument you made for that one.
All the episodes.
I voted the party line. I didn't know it was the party line at the time I threw my vote in the thing, but I went with Good Man Goes to War. And I struggled with it because my initial thought was that, you're just going with it because it's such a great episode. And it's like, no, I really wanted to make it, I think you look at A Good Man Goes to War and you talk about the different aspects. You get the Doctor who being very clever with his plan, and he loves how clever he is. He's a little arrogant about how clever he is. You get the touch of the overbearing Doctor, with Colonel Runaway and how condescending he can be. But then you get the dedicated Doctor that he is going to go to any lengths to rescue Amy. Period. That we are going to get her out of there. You get the Doctor who likes to have a gang. That he is almost to the point where I've kind of always felt like, that we've talked about the Doctor needs the companionship in order to kind of keep himself balanced. And I'm totally retconning this after the 50th. But based on the fact that they're so willing for him to kind of be able to forget and push that as far away from himself as he possibly can get, I'm almost wondering now if he feels the need in the 11th era that we've had multiple companions, that it wasn't.
There's only a small stretch where it's just Amy.
Yeah.
Or even Clara. I mean, we've had episodes now where we get the Paternoster gang, we get the dinosaurs on a spaceship group, we get that it's one companion isn't enough to keep him balanced anymore. He almost needs more people than that. So we kind of get that element of it in there. You get a little more of the development of the relationship with him and River, and kind of the reminder, did you think you would be this when you went out, when you set off all those years ago, and kind of hearkening back to his core. So there's a lot in Good Man that I think sums up the Doctor, but I think there's a lot in it that also fits in with the era, because it does have the kind of fairy tale going on to it. It has the prophecies and the overarching story bits, and it hits a lot of those notes that you run through with it. And I agree with you, Glenn. This era in general is so even that realistically, I think any of these episodes that we've mentioned would be, you could totally say, yeah, that's totally it. I don't think there's one that you can pull aside and say, this is more than the rest of them.
Yeah.
Even the low points in the era are still pretty high, at least in my opinion. Of course, I'm biased.
Victory of the Daleks.
Curse of the Black Spot. Still not as low. Still not. You go back and rewatch these episodes.
We all have our invisible chickens. But yeah, I just and I think that's a credit that, I mean, when you go back and you look at how we've discussed things like the RTD years, and if you go back and listen to that podcast, and we talked about breaking up into some of the seasons that we thought, well, this season overall was pretty good, even though it had some of the really, really low points, or this season had this. I don't think you can say that about the Matt Smith era.
It's hard to pick the turkeys. It's hard to pick the low points,
really
because there really aren't many.
Yeah, even the ones that you didn't think that you'd I did not think when I saw the preview for Beast Below, I kind of went, ugh, yeah, that just doesn't look.
I never expected to get hooked into it.
I totally would not, and it is such a gem of an episode. You look at the one, even Vampires of Venice has those moments that make it a worthwhile story because of the character development of Rory, or because of there's something in there that
in fact, all of the characters, especially the Team TARDIS, really is what makes those episodes shine. Because even if the premise is bad, or we don't like the villains, or they are always so good. Those three are such a good team. And so enjoyable.
And even when they start off and they're trying to find their footing, it's enjoyable
seeing them build that. Build that team.
Yeah.
And the only complaint, even that I could come up with about the era, is the Clara stuff. That I wish that had been allowed to percolate a little bit more, as opposed to being shoehorned into the shortened season.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like Amy and Rory, because we had grown so attached to them, that their story kind of spilled over into season 7.
Yeah.
And we had this extended goodbye.
Yeah. I think that's indeed true, and I think Clara's character gets shorted by that, and Amy and Rory's characters kind of get, I don't want to say pushed too far because of that, because I don't feel like they were, but it just feels like maybe they might have almost overstayed their welcome a little bit. Because when you're preparing for them to leave, and we've already done episodes where we've kind of...
Where we've dropped them off.
Yeah, exactly. We've kind of settled, that, and then to bring them back, it's like, okay, well, it was fine. It was good. There's some great episodes, but I completely agree with what you're saying there. That
I do wish there was more...
Clara and makes it too rushed.
Was it Dan that commented about how good... I think it was Dan... when he wrote in how good she was in the 50th, that we didn't have that impending sense of the impossible role hanging over, and she was just allowed to be a companion.
That's true.
And it showed what we can look forward to.
Yeah.
Is that she's going to be this level, this caliber.
Her and Matt have such great chemistry together, just the two of them. I can tell that I wish we got more of the two of them together.
Well, that's the thing with Matt, though, and I go back. He's such a good actor that he has good chemistry with everybody. Watching him interact with children. And we've all said, wouldn't it be great if the Doctor had and of course, Doctor in the Wood in the Wardrobe was our Christmas offering.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to sign these kids up. I mean, with the exception of the kids that Clara was babysitting. Those would.
But he was even good with them. Even though they were annoying as heck, or at least the girl was.
You're stupid.
His interactions with them were still priceless. Yeah. And you can tell that, so...
And this is the Doctor that let us know he speaks baby.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on.
And horse.
Yeah.
But he swung the gambit so much from being the goofy, silly, awkward, all elbows kind of caricature of a person to these really deep, quiet moments where it's just him and Amy, and they're having a very quiet discussion about nothing. That turns out to be something important to the action hero who, is leaping headlong into danger, to the silly hero who's leaping headlong down a chimney.
Yeah.
I mean,
indeed.
Are you okay?
I'm not ready for next week.
It's going to be a mess next week.
It's going to be rough.
All right. Well, since it's Christmas week, let's wrap it up early so we can all be rested for next week when we're gushing
rested.
And crying.
I'm going to be crying for 5 days.
Well, you're going to need your energy. What do we got coming up on the schedule, Sean?
Well, this week for Friday
besides
night,
Black Wednesday.
Black Wednesday.
Death Day.
We're going to come back. We're going to come here Sunday, and he's going to have a black armband.
The day the show dies.
He's going to look like Mrs. Kittner in Jaws. He's going to have the veil and the whole bit. And he's going to walk in and look at you and slap you in the face for introducing him to this show.
Both of you.
What did I do?
You're just as guilty.
I'm more so because I was egging him on. Going, yeah, we should get Keith in on this. Well, obviously, Christmas is Wednesday. It's the big day with Time of the
Doctor.
Did you correct that on the schedule?
I did.
You did?
He set it up, but I just because I got to it sooner.
After Dan was kind enough to point out to us, you did it wrong. Thanks, Dan.
You know what happened is he was putting those up. We were debating whether to put Day of the Doctor up, and as he was doing, this is partially my fault. I'll take blame for that. As he was putting it together, I said the one you can't put on there is Time of the Doctor because we haven't seen it yet. And I'm sure he was typing at the same time. Because after Dan's message came in, I went, "Oh, I know exactly what happened. I said Time of the Doctor at the time that we were talking about Time of the Doctor when he was entering Day of the Doctor." So,
well, and then I got on there. I'm like, "Wait, but." He'd already changed it.
Yeah, so he was confused at that point because it didn't show the edit.
I was when I saw Dan's comment, I was like, "Oh," and I went and looked. I was like, "We're right. I don't know what he's going on about."
Hey, when somebody calls something out, I make sure we get on it.
Well, look, you were off that day, so I didn't think you'd get on it.
No, I was off and up.
That's the difference. I was sleeping in.
So obviously, Christmas, yeah. And we haven't quite figured out our Black Christmas. We haven't quite figured out our viewing strategy. I suspect it'll be everybody's on your own for catching it, and then we'll reconvene later in the week.
I'm not comfortable feeling or weeping in public like that.
Yeah, but you better watch it with somebody so that you're
Sarah
not on
will be there
suicide.
to cry with me.
You'll be on suicide watch.
Sarah will be there to cry with me.
And you and I still need to determine what his new rank is going to be.
Oh, yeah, we do, don't we?
For next week. Assuming he makes it.
I may not survive.
He may not survive, and we will be auditioning a replacement next week on the show. To welcome, enough of the sad, to welcome Peter Capaldi to the fold, we will be watching Fires of Pompeii for Friday Night this week. And then our show next week will be a mess discussing the Christmas special and the implications.
I'm looking at the silver lining.
Did they wrap everything up?
Peter Capaldi's coming.
Peter Capaldi's coming. I'm very excited for Peter Capaldi. I really am.
So
2
excited.
minutes.
I'm so excited for Peter Capaldi.
That's what's going to be tough about next week for me is I will be extremely sad that Matt's going. Don't let me underplay that. However, I'm also equally excited that Peter Capaldi's going to be there and he's going to show up for his 2 minutes and then I'm going to have to wait nearly an entire year, at the very least 8 months, in order to get some satisfaction.
The reaction that we got off of just his eyes. When the whole thing shows up, what's he going to be like?
Oh, I know.
You know? Glenn will be sitting there through the whole thing going, "Hurry up and die, Matt. Hurry up and die."
This is why I'm not going to watch it.
Oh, there's a Dalek. Maybe he'll get shot.
It's funny that I almost counter Keith as far as the excitement versus the tragedy of the thing.
And
I really
as
am
usual,
sad
I
to see
kind of
Matt.
ride the middle between the two of them.
I am sad to see Matt go.
But, so yeah, we'll be discussing the Christmas special ad nauseum at length next week in our show. And then that takes us into next year, which I should probably post some scheduling.
Yeah, what are we doing the week after that?
I don't remember.
I'm trying to look past Christmas.
You're not going to be able to look past Christmas. It's just all Christmas.
I'm doing all my Christmas stuff before the episode airs here in the US.
I did drop a hint. If you were looking for, if you're thinking that you may need to make some purchases to keep going with us on our Friday Night Who schedule, you would definitely want to look into maybe picking up the E-Space trilogy, because we will be doing that in January with Tom Baker and knocking out all those. And there will be not a lot, but a significant chunk of Big Finish that's coming up.
Because we've got at least 8 months of wilderness to get through.
I'm still powering ahead. With Paul McGann stuff, anyway.
Well, there's going to be some Paul on the schedule, too, because we wanted to do that. So.
Good.
But I will have a schedule update for you this week. A Christmas update. A Christmas update.
Sean's gift to you.
My gift to you. Go spend money on this.
Yeah, those gift cards you got for Christmas. Here you go.
There you go.
You looking for something to buy? Here you go.
So.
All right. Well, let's
I don't
wrap it
remember
up.
what I did last week. I can't believe you expect me to know what's going on next week.
If that's going to do it for this week, until next week, I'm Glenn.
I'm Sean.
I'm Keith.
Cheers.
Merry Christmas, Mahana Kwanzaa.
And you don't know what to do. An all-inclusive celebration.
No contractual obligation.
Happy Christmas, Kwanzaa to you.
And pagans too.
In some ways we're all monkeys, well maybe just a smidgen.
I'm a Scientologist.
That's kind of a religion.
You have been listening to Traveling the Vortex. Doctor Who and all of its associated programs are owned and trademarked by the BBC. No infringement is intended or implied.
What a joyous day.
No commitments means I'm proud to go both ways.